Hey, welcome to Empower to Empower You podcast. I am your host, Bewindi Bobb. I am so excited. Today is Mother's Day, and what a wonderful day. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But before I do, just want to remind you that Empower to Empower You podcast is about all things Jesus Christ, mental health, anything necessary to equip you with what is needed to change your mindset and have the right perspective so that you can be the best version of yourself. Welcome to episode number 19. If you are tuning in for the first time, I sincerely and lovingly welcome you. Last week's episode was entitled Remember. If you have not heard it, take a moment. Feel free to pause and listen to it. I really loved that podcast because it prompts us to take a moment and pause and remember how we overcame situations before, whether that's anxiety or any difficult situation. Or remember the goodness of the Lord in your life. Sometimes we move through life and we tend to forget. We tend to get busy or caught up in our emotions or caught up in the moment. And sometimes it just takes a moment to really just just recall how God has recovered things for you, or delivered you from situations, or healed you, or protected you, or provided for you. And when we do that, that usually shifts and changes our perspectives. So I loved that podcast. I really love every podcast. It really blesses me. That's why I do this. But if you are coming back again and have been with me since the beginning, and which was January 2020, thank you so much. And let me know how this is ministering to you or inspiring you. And you can do that by emailing me, Bewindi Bobb at empowered.com, or you could connect with me on IG at empowered2serve. And I may say that again before I leave for today. But let me just plug in. By the end of these podcasts, if someone gives his or her life to Christ, if someone feels more inspired to get closer to God or go to therapy, read his or her Bible a little bit more, if someone feels uplifted or do further reflection or make decisions that need to be made, etc., hey, my mission is accomplished. Because my first and foremost desire is that God gets all the glory in what I do. So, as you already know, my recording days are Sundays. And so by the time you hear this podcast, it will be Monday or Tuesday. It may be in the evening or in the morning or in the night. And so today, May the 10th, there's so many mixed emotions. Mixed emotions about grief. So many are grieving the loss of loved ones, including the loss of moms. And most recently, the loss of the young man who was murdered senselessly while going on a jog. And my heart goes out and my prayers goes out to this family. Today is a special day for many. And there are many who have desired to be moms. There are many who are moms. There are many who are single moms. There are many who lost their moms. There are many who were almost moms and lost the babies. And I prayed for you today. It's amazing how I saw the celebrations as early as Saturday, honoring moms all over. And in this podcast, I choose to do it in honor of my mom, who I call Mommy or Mother. And the name of this podcast is Lessons My Mom Taught Me. So I'm so excited. As I said in the beginning of this podcast, that I was born and raised in the Caribbean, specifically St. Lucia. My mom is a true West Indian woman. That woman is small in posture, but let me tell you, she's small in stature, but she has a huge posture. She has an amazing heart. And it's perfect that I get to do this podcast and record this on Mother's Day. I'm honored to my mom. I'm honored to have my mom. I'm honored to share her with you and what she has instilled in me. Let me just say this, that my mom, she loves her some Jesus. That woman, she prays, man. She prays for her children, her grandchildren. And I know, without sharing too many specific details about my life, that there are some things that should have happened to me. There are some things that did happen to me. There are some relationships that could have destroyed my purpose, that could have changed the trajectory of my life. But I have a praying mother, and I know the hand of the Lord was on my life. And if you are listening to me and you can relate to this, I would love to hear from you. If I were live right now, I know I would get some amens. But I am so thankful that my mother interceded for me, cried for me, prayed for me, believed in me, dreamt about me, supported me. She encourages me often and often serves as my cheerleader, the person who encourages laughter in my life. So I just want to take a few minutes. I'm not going to be before you long, but I just thought that it would be fitting to share a few things that my mom has taught me. Ooh, so exciting. Lesson number 1. Jesus comes first, Didi. So Didi is my family nickname, my childhood nickname given to me by my family. Both my parents would call me Didi, D-I-D-I. Mom often encourages me to make sure that in all that I do to put Jesus first. In fact, the zeal that I have for the Lord and the things of God has been influenced by her. Of course, I had to get to know Jesus. I had to get to know Jesus by myself, for myself. I couldn't just ride on mommy's and daddy's salvation. I had to accept him on my own. But this message, she continues to say, and I continue to hold on to it. Lesson number 2. Jesus is coming soon. This is something my mother often reminds anyone she's witnessing to. She is definitely an encourager. She loves to. I remember times that she was passing out tracts. We don't even hear that word anymore, tracts. But it's a tool that people normally use, missionaries or different people use to witness and tell people about the stories of Jesus Christ and tell people about the word, to kind of invite them into salvation. And I remember times when my mother, there was a time that she was sick. She had gotten sick, paralyzed, waist down, and there were many people who thought, even the doctors, thought that she would never walk again. I'm getting emotional, but I didn't even plan to share this story, but it's fitting to share because she's going to hear this podcast. And while some people did not believe that my mother was going to walk again, including the doctor, I'm not going to go into all the details of what happened, but it was just a sudden mishap. One day she was walking, the other day she just couldn't get out the bed and she became paralyzed waist down. And I never stopped believing God because of the woman because of what she instilled in me from a little girl. My faith became so strong. My faith in the Lord has been my anchor. And it is so strong and it is unmovable that I held on to God's word, and I would tell her, Mommy, you're going to walk again. You're going to walk again. I don't care what the doctor says. You're going to walk again. And I remember that as God healed her in stages, she went from being bedridden to being on the walker. And from being on the walker, she went to being on the wheelchair. And she went to being able to walk with a cane. And she was able to get out of the hospital's bed and was in rehab. And even in rehab, one of the stories that I remember my mother told me is that she would share the goodness of the Lord. Even in the rehab, she would take time to witness to people. She loves to sing. She loves to share the love of God. She loves to share tracts. She would share these tracts and she would talk to people about Jesus is coming back soon. She would talk to people. She just got so excited, and she gets so excited about sharing the goodness of the Lord. And that is such a good example and such a good story to be able to have to share. And I will never forget that. So that's something that she's always instilled in me. And I'm just so thankful. I mean, I hope that story just blessed somebody today, because maybe you're praying and believing God for a miracle. Let me tell you, I am a living witness that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think or imagine, according to the power at work within us. I am a living witness that God is able to heal. He's able to restore. He's able to deliver. He's able to set free, because he's done it for me. He's done it in my family. He could do it for you. My mother is no longer paralyzed today. So, I did not mean to share that, but it came out. So, hey, to God be the glory. Lesson number 3, do your best. Don't give up. My mother is my greatest cheerleader. And even if she does not have a college education, she values my education, my brother's education, and she's often expressing how proud she is of us and our career paths. You know, she's one of the first persons that I run to when something amazing happens to me, or when I have good news. She's one of the first person I share that with, because I know that she's super proud and she wants me to win. And I appreciate her for that. Lesson number 4, rest, Dee Dee. Rest. So she often reminds me to slow down, rest, take my time. She gets so concerned when I work all day, leave the house, be on the run all the time, go work out, come back, go again, keep going. I mean, my schedule made her think that I was just sleeping in my car. So she would often say, Dee Dee, rest. And even in this time with COVID-19, a lot of negative things have happened, but a lot of beautiful things are happening as well. And my mom, one day, she said, I'm glad. I don't like the virus. I don't like this coronavirus. But it seems like this virus has caused you to slow down. Where are you going? Where do you have to go now? And in her accent, it was hilarious. We just both went into laughter, which goes into my 5th lesson, laughter. My mom loves to make me laugh. A lot of times I'm usually very intense, because I'm going from working to counseling, and mostly counseling people. And although I love to laugh, it's very easy for me to be stuck in a serious, intense headspace. But she tries to make light of things and reminds me to laugh. And usually when we're talking on the phone, she often feels relieved when I'm able to burst into laughter on the phone. It's as if she feels like her mission is accomplished. Wow, I am so glad that I got to share. And I'm sure there are many, many lessons, but I would be on this podcast, this recording, for a long time. I probably would have run out of time. But my mom is an amazing woman. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful to have a mom. And those of you who don't have a mom right now, those of you who are grieving the loss of your mom, I just thank you. I just want you to know that I'm praying for you. I'm glad that I got to share a bit of her with you and honor her on this Mother's Day 2020. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Share with me how you were inspired in that story. So if your mom is not living, again, I am so sorry. But for every mom, stepmom, adoptive mom, like a mom, I have a lot of like a moms, meaning women who have stepped up in my life and just took me under their wings and loved me as if I am their daughter. There are so many of those. It's almost like God has always positioned me in a place with a woman who took me under her arm. And there are many who don't have biological children. It was so meaningful that I had 3 or 4 different messages on Mother's Day that said, I know you don't have biological children, but you nurture so many people. And for that, I honor you. And y'all, that was a tear jerker. So, one of the activities I use in helping clients to grieve a loved one is an anagram. And it's really, really important, whether if your mom is not living, it's very, very important to be able to do something that I call preserving positive memories. So this is an anagram that I want to share. And usually an anagram, it's just a nice way of remembering fun things about your mom or your loved one. You could do it on any person. It's just a nice way to remember the good things, the positive memories. So you would take the person's first name and you would spell it, but you would list it vertically, meaning down, okay? And you would just list something based on the start of the name. So for example, my mother's name is Geraldine. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share my anagram with you because she'll get to hear this as well. So G, she's known as Gaga by her grandchildren. She's a great cook, y'all, especially those Caribbean dishes. Dumplings, saltfish and banana, rice and chicken, fried plantain. Oh man, I can go on and go on. E, she's an early riser. Ooh, she's an early riser. R, she reads multiple books at a time. This is something we laugh at. I'm like, Mommy, how you start another book when you didn't finish the other book? A, she's always supportive. L, she laughs and makes me laugh and loves her grandchildren. D, she cooks dumplings, and don't estimate her. I call her a lawyer. My mother knows how to investigate. She know, even when I was trying to sneak around with a boy, or this is not currently. Even when I was like trying to sneak around with relationships, she somehow knew. You just somehow knew something was up. I was very secretive. I was a very secretive girl. She comes up with great ideas. I mean, we could be talking about something and she just comes up with great ideas. I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom. I really appreciate that. N, she's not easily intimidated. She's short. She's small in stature. But she's a boss, man. She is a boss. My brother and I really, really appreciate the strength in her. E, she's eager about the word and prayer. So I just spelled out her name, Geraldine, and I just put different attributes or qualities or things that I love about her, just based on the letter. So you can do that about your loved one. It's just a nice way. It really, really works with clients who are just moving through grief of a loved one, and just nice ways to remember and just sit with that memory. So for those of you who are grieving the loss of your mom, that's something that you can do, and I hope that inspires you. And people say that time heals wounds when it comes to grief. That is a myth. That is a lie. So I just want to encourage you to take some time to do that. Make a collage or do something fun to remember the lessons. Write down the lessons that you learned from your mom or your grandmother or whoever your mom was, whether it was a foster mom, an adoptive mom, or a woman who mentored you, or whatever the case may be. Write down the things and share it with that person. Share it if they're still alive. Share it with them. That means a lot. I actually had a conversation with my mother about this yesterday, and she's going to hear this episode. So I know her heart will be lifted up when she hears this episode. So I hope that this episode left you feeling inspired. Again, my heart goes out for those of you who are grieving, and know that I prayed for you, and I pray that the peace of the Lord God guards your mind and your hearts in Christ Jesus. And those of you who are moms, you almost moms, I hope that you are being honored, that you were honored, that you were celebrated, because you deserve it. I cannot imagine the life of that, being a mother. Until next time, be encouraged, and remember, you matter. You matter. You are special. You are loved. So this was episode 19. I'll be back next week with episode number 20. And have a great week. Again, feel free. You are welcome to connect with me at Instagram at empower2serve. You can also email me at Bewindi Bobb at empowered2empoweryou.com. And you could also reach me on Facebook as well. So have a great week on purpose, and stay safe, stay well, and stay encouraged. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.